Oh. Oh, that. Merely reflecting on the hopeless nature of the task in front of it. The most likely outcome is that it and its companions will become a stain on some rock for the Darkspawn to tread upon. I shall be moved to a single tear by the tragedy. Oh, how adorable. Such hope is sweet to see, if a bit alarming. What's that? Did it hear flapping wings? There may be pigeons nearby. We should be alert. Oh. Different? Different than what? Different than a statue? Different than a log? Should I talk in a monotone? Yes, Master, I exist to serve the Master. I shall kill for the Master and only for the Master. Perhaps it expected me to have a booming voice. Recite limericks. I can recite limericks, if it likes. Mostly they involve slaughtering pigeons in creative and invasive manners. I have never met another golem. I have no idea what one might be like, or why I wouldn't be like them. Why? Has it met other golems? Did they not sound as I do? Did I say it was bad? It thinks I hang on its every word, waiting for approval. I don't know what other golems might be like, but I am already superior by virtue of my free will. This is a good thing. Imagine the benefits. No need to eat or sleep or perform other functions. Walk underwater, crush the heads of every opponent. The possibilities are limitless. Barring the occasional 30 years or so of paralysis, there's little to compare. Now stop talking so much. The wagging of its moist little tongue is distracting. It doesn't have better things to do. I like to think of them as accessories. I suspect that it is an art that was practiced when golems were more, commonplace. My former master collected whatever lore he could find on the subject. He searched far and wide to collect what crystals he could and then added them. It is not an unpleasant sensation. As I understand it, the crystals allow me to alter the flow of magic around me. Wilhelm had hoped to turn me into a battery of mana, something he could tap at will. Not really, although now that I think of it, these attempts may be what caused my disruption. Some of the crystals increase the presence of mana, some absorb or reflect spells. There are various kinds. All I can promise is that should it ever find one of these crystals, I can likely tell it the function and what it would do if added to me. Why not? I don't get to wear clothing and other adornments like the rest of you creatures after all. That answers its question, I assume? Unless it has more. Did I not already tell it that I do not remember doing such? I remember having a master. My memories of what happened to him are vague. So some belabored description is now called for, is it? Oh, very well. My former master enjoyed experimenting upon me. I remember that much. There was tinkering with spells, and then the crystals. He was very eager to alter my function, I think. Flattery, and obvious flattery, too. I feel warm and fuzzy inside. He possessed my control rod, and back then, it would have prevented me from doing anything he did not command me to, no matter how I might have wished to. So what happened? I am unsure. He was experimenting, and then nothing. There was pain. I do not feel it as soft creatures do, so the memory is an odd one. And then he was gone. I was standing where I was, in the village, and I could no longer move. The villagers came, poked and prodded me in fear, and then realized they could neither move me nor destroy me, so they simply left me. And in time I forgot I hadn't stood there all along. In fact, at first I found it more of a relief. For so many years I'd had to leap to that little toadstool's every command. Get this, pick up that, put it down, pick it up again. The gall! At first I'd hoped he'd simply decided to leave me there paralyzed. An acceptable trade-off. After years passed, I simply stopped caring. I think I was ready to move on. Another few years and the moss would have covered my face. And then where would I have been? Whatever the mage did seemed to render the control rod useless, for which I should be thankful, yes? And provided it doesn't decide to copy his experiments, not that I would allow it, it is nothing to fear from me. Much. So I have come to realize, if that was not the case, I would have gone elsewhere by now. Doesn't knowing that make it feel good? Let us get back to the walking and the fighting. My stone is beginning to itch again. I've watched a lot of humans in my time. It should be aware that I've decided that it is not much like any of them. Surely it must come from some superior lineage, yes? Some breed of flesh creature that has decided to elevate its genetic stock above its natural shortcomings? Then that must be it. The humans have always spoken about elves being inferior, but obviously this is their own stupidity talking. I would appreciate if it didn't spread around that I said anything. Humans might start to get the wrong idea. They might start thinking their race is not completely hopeless. Indeed, can it imagine the horror? Now, let us crush something into a fine paste before it starts to think I've gone all soft. Perish the thought. It speaks. It doesn't have better things to do. Oh yes, that I remember quite well. My former master, the Mage Wilhelm, he brought me. As I recall, he had acquired some position with whatever lord ruled the land. I, being little more than a glorified possession at the time, was brought along. Oh, how he enjoyed impressing the villagers with me. Gollum snarl at that villager there, be fearsome. And of course, I would have to do it. Good. I was just about done talking about it. It does like to have a good chat now and again, doesn't it? It speaks. It doesn't have better things to do. That part I know, as Wilhelm often bragged about it to whomever was willing to listen to him. He claimed to have found me in the deep roads. I was in the ruins of a Tig, he said, deactivated, with my control rod not far away. On then. It speaks. It doesn't have better things to do. I do not sleep, so yes, and I thank it for reminding me. Try to imagine, if it will, what it would be like to be surrounded by nothing but boring peasants, all oblivious to it. And then there were the birds. A whole village full of pigeons and ravens and sparrows all perching on me day in and day out. Those foolish villagers would spread birdseed near me, drawing the birds, because they thought having birds perch on me was quaint. Quaint! If there hadn't been the occasional kind soul to scour me clean, I don't care to discuss this anymore. It speaks. It doesn't have better things to do. That is true. I do not. I'm not interested in getting into a discussion on the subject, however. Ask another time. If it is done asking overly obvious questions, let us find some humans to throw off a cliff, or something. Ooh, shiny. Ooh, shiny. Ooh, shiny. I am watching you, dog. Do you know how many of your kind urinated on me in that village? And all I could do is stand there and watch, helpless. If I see one of those legs of yours lift so much as an inch in my direction, pow!
My love? Yes, me too. And I got the feeling at the end there that it saw us, was aware of us, whatever you want to call it. Could have just been my imagination, I suppose. What do you think? I thought we were already being extra careful. Does that mean we have to be extra careful now? Great. There I was, enjoying my nap. I guess one thing is certain at least, isn't it? It's official. This is a blight.
If there's anything I can do for you, please tell me. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Lovely.
Yes.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Blast of damnation.
Yes.
Well, all right.
Our Leman sends his regards, Warden. We're trying to keep the roads clear and safe.
King Loghain will...
Vieta, this land is held in trust for the sovereign Dwarven kings. I cannot allow entry at this time.
King Loghain demands the allegiance of the Desher, or lords, or whatever you call them in your assembly. I am his appointed messenger.
I don't care if you're the king's wiper. Orzammar will have none but its own until our throne is settled.
Who doesn't? If I don't get in, no one should.
Orzammar has no king. Endrin Idukan returned to the stone not 3 weeks ago, sick over the loss of his sons. The Assembly has gone through a dozen votes without agreeing on a successor. If it is not settled soon, we risk a civil war.
The Wardens killed King Cailan and nearly doomed Ferelden. They're sworn enemies of King Loghain.
Well, that is the Royal Seal. That means only the Assembly is authorized to address it. Grey Warden, you may pass.
You're letting in a traitor? And a foreigner? In the name of King Loghain, I demand that you execute this stain on the honor of Ferelden. You'll hear of this. King Loghain will see you quartered.
You are free to enter Orzammar, Grey Warden, though I don't know what help you will find.
Ah, the Paragon.
I haven't eaten
The dwarves worship their own ancestors, if you can believe it.
Now that's a thing of beauty, daughter. If you work hard like Bronca, I'll work tomorrow. Don't say that.
Lovely.
Get back to the forge. I want to
So, I imagine it has been some time for you, Liliana.
Some time for me. I do not know what you mean.
It is the Assembly who makes a king, and a king who nominates his successor. None of it is carried in the blood.
Or, as now, when someone tries using the Assembly to pull a coup. Who's to say what my father said in his final hours, when the usurper Harrowmont was the only one by his side?
I'll have you thrown in prison.
You've bitten off more than you can chew!
Handlers, separate these dashers in the Diamond Quarter. I will not have Balaam incite a riot.
Not speak that way about the man who should be king! I won't have fighting in the Commons, especially in front of outsiders. If I find that sodding fool, I'll have him in the Legion.
Vieta, Surfacer. I'm bid to let you walk the Commons, but keep your place. Warden or not, I want order. Surface problems. Well, we have no king to hear you. You can join the shouting at the Assembly in the Diamond Quarter if you want. Bunch of Desher lords bickering over sand. Balin, Harrowmont. Is one so different? No paragons here. Surfacers appoint no paragons? Truly, you're lost in all that sky. They are the best of us, declared living ancestors. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter. They've caged themselves for fear of each other. As you've seen, keeping order down among us working people is dodgy. No place for a proper lord. Balin speaks through his second, Vartag Gavorn, in the Assembly. Lord Harrowmont speaks through Dulin Ferender from his estate. See, that's why I don't want you surfacers seeing our worst. You'll think that's all we are. The market is thin, but busy, and the tavern never closes. Bad blood is usually kept to the proving. Should toss Balin and Harrowmont in there, sort this all out in a hurry. Personal battles for honor and ancestor. I don't expect a surfacer to understand. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter. Yes, you should.
Did you see that? I cannot believe what this city has come to. This would never have happened when Endrin was alive. The city is torn apart. King Endrin is dead, and the Assembly can't decide who takes the throne, Lord Harrowmont or that monster Balin. Aye. What a terrible burden for a father to have only Balin left of 3 fine sons. In the end, Endrin himself recognized that Balin cared for nothing but power. It was Endrin who ordered his son away from his deathbed and embraced Lord Harrowmont as his heir. Lord Harrowmont should be our king. He was King Endrin's closest advisor, the only one he could trust. Endrin himself, ancestors welcome him, asked the Assembly to endorse Harrowmont. Everybody knows he killed his brother Tree and let his father's favorite son take the blame. And many question whether Endrin died abed, as we were told, or whether Balin helped him along. He is a good man and a skilled general. King Endrin trusted him with his life, and I will do no less. Only as a potential match for one of his sons. He was a good king, stern and fair and just. He died in bed after his eldest son was murdered, and the Assembly condemned his second son for it. I cannot blame him for preferring to join the ancestors in eternal peace, if Balin didn't murder him himself. I am Narav Helmi, 3rd daughter of the 2nd matron of House Helmi. And you, stranger, what brings you to Orzammar at such a time? A blight? Now? But our warriors are killing each other in the streets. Who will lead the battle? How will we survive? Then may the ancestors guide your efforts. If you seek Lord Harrowmont's support, talk to Dulin Ferender. You'll find him in Harrowmont's estate. Tell him who you are, and I'm sure he can get you an audience. I should return home until the streets become safe again.
I knew I should have stuck to common nugs. I've gone and lost them too. I'll never find them the way they skitter.
Common nugs? I don't like those. They look dirty.
No way I'm going back to that supplier in Dust Town. Guess I'm shutting it down. Good on you, stranger. Only need one to turn this around.
Excuse me, do you have a moment? You look like you're not from around here. Oh, wonderful! I've been trying forever to find someone who really knows the surface world. I don't suppose you've heard of something called the Circle? Then I'm truly honored. I've never met an actual mage. Is it true you can manipulate nature's forces with your mind? Like you were born with lyrium in your veins? I can't even imagine. I've been trying to reach someone there for years. I've sent missives with every caravan, but I never get a reply. I want to know if they would accept me for study. I want to go to the Circle to study. I don't want to do magic. No dwarf can cast spells, but I don't see why I shouldn't study it. It would be a valuable exchange. Orzammar would learn of one of the great natural forces of the surface. And the Circle gains direct access to our knowledge of lyrium smithing. That would be wonderful. My name is Dagna, daughter of Janar of the Smithcast. Tell them I've already begun reading the Teventer Imperium's Verticum Kadab, and it's just fascinating. Did you know the Imperial Magister Lords once had genealogies of every human family known to produce a mage child?
She's so enthusiastic and adorable. I'm glad we're helping her.
Oh, I'll go pack my bags right now. I'll be waiting by my father's shop.
Greetings, and welcome to Garen Garrison's Luxury Goods Shop. Wow, there are a lot of you. And I've never seen one of those before. The things they come up with. What was I saying? Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't notice. Most people don't anymore. Or maybe they're too polite to mention it. I had a little incident a few years back. Too much time with the raw lyrium ore, you know. Maybe it was a bad vein. I cut myself and the dust got straight in the blood. Since then, it's been a little hard for me to concentrate. Except when forging. Then I'm straight as an arrow. Best work you've ever seen. Look around the shop. See for yourself.
So what is it exactly that the Sisters of the Chantry do for amusement?
Do they not have sisters in Antiva, Severin?
Naturally. Yet we are hesitant to speak to the sisters back home. They are at Tianagrano. How do you say it? Pure, and not to be spoiled.
And you would spoil them just by speaking to them?
You really have no idea, do you?
I wasn't born in the Chantry, Severin. Sisters, we had many ways to pass the time. Work, for instance, and prayer.
No time for leisure at all?
I was not there for idle pursuits and pleasures, Severin.
Drunken dwarves. What could be the harm in a few of those?
Go on, I'm out of the nug game. Got nothing to sell. Saraka, I'm back in the game, such as it is. I don't have much besides gratitude, but find a bunch more of these and I'll toss you whatever I've found. You're the best wrangler I've ever seen, but there's more out there. You're the best wrangler I've ever seen, but there's more out there. You're the best wrangler I've ever seen, but there's more out there. You're the best wrangler I've ever seen, but there's more out there. I trust Vala, my nug wrangling friend.
So, you and Alistair, together, looking contented. You even have a glow about you. So shameless. Well, you know, radiating joy and love while everyone has to face death and the blight and a bleak future. Terrible gloating like that. So, how is Alistair? You know what I mean. Alistair and you, those long nights. He must be quite delightful. You wouldn't be so happy otherwise, I think. He's athletic. That's always nice. He is also good at following instructions, isn't he? Ooh, fascinating. The little Templar is all grown up and apparently he plays well with others.
What are you giggling about? What is she giggling about? I don't really believe you, but I don't want to find out either.
I have heard much about the halls of the Dwarven Kings, but the stories do it no justice. It is so strange, harsh, yet beautiful. And have you seen those tiny pig-like burrowing animals. They are adorable. I wish I could have one as a pet. But they must be hard to catch and... Oh, just ignore me. I'm so silly sometimes. Let's just go. And so I... Of course.
Let me guess. This is what the rich do.
News of the hour.
As you desire.
Baelin's involvement in King Endrin's death. Possibility of...
I heard there was a Grey Warden here. I am Dulin Forrender, second to Lord Harrowmont, King Endrin's own choice as successor. Word is spreading that the surface may suffer a blight. It is shameful we are not in a better position to help. That may be, and that is a terrible risk for the surface. But even if the world would end tomorrow, Lord Harrowmont cannot ignore Baelin today. He cannot afford to trust anyone of unproven loyalties. That's a generous offer. If you mean it, you might attend the proving today. The Deshers take it very seriously, and unfortunately, Baelin found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harrowmont's best fighters into stepping down. That would be enlightening. Though I hope you won't pry too deeply into things they don't wish revealed. If you wish to show your loyalty, enter the proving as his lordship's champion. With your order's reputation, I've no doubt the ancestors would favor your arm.
And this is to be your king. One who cannot keep his own men from running like frightened children.
Lord Harrowmont does not use threats or intimidation to motivate his men. He leads by example.
Ah, I see. So it's his example they follow as they cower from this Prince Baelin.
How dare you slander Lord Harrowmont?
Why should we ally ourselves with someone too scared even to grant us an audience? I suppose not everyone can face death as undaunted as an Antivan, it's true.
Then you agree to fight in Harrowmont's name. Baelin would never work with anyone who humiliated him in that way. Harrowmont would have no fear of meeting with you then. Excellent. The arena is located off the Commons. Talk to the Proving Master and tell him you're entering Lord Harrowmont's roster. The key fighters we lost were Guidon and Baisel. You can look for them in the fighters' preparation chambers behind the ring. And be sure it's before the fights begin. After the first bout, no one may change the roster. If you need to find me again, I will wait in the Tapster's Tavern off the Commons. There is no better place to hear gossip. Perhaps even word of your victory.
Lord Harrowmont, said to have kicked Castellan in the street.
I am yours.
Your wish?
Well, all right.
In the vault? We have to get out of here! With this!
Ancestors. Good on you,
As you
Warden.
desire.
Caught them in the act. I guess desperate times drive people to strange things.
Lovely.
Thief! Who would dare take from the memories? Warden, I'm outraged. A thief in the Shapered. What have we been reduced to? I did. He was bald, with the most garish brand across his head. Almost like he took pride in being castless. Imagine! He's probably in the slums somewhere. As if he'd find a buyer for a stolen tome in Dust Town. They couldn't know the value.
Of course. As you desire.
The Assembly is in session. Enter quietly if you wish to observe.
Your mind has gone to dust if you think we would pass such a writ. Half our houses would go broke without the surface trade.
The proposal is only effective until we have a king to ensure we are respected by the surfacers.
Leaving you conveniently positioned to take over all contracts. I'll see your head on a pike first.
Deshers, lords and ladies of the Assembly. I've already doubled the guard to prevent violence. Must I summon more?
Steward Bandalore, Balin's sympathizers are tying our hands with trivialities. They may as well open us to the sky.
I suggest we put the matter to a vote.
And I suggest you have a taste of my family's mace.
Enough! The Assembly is in recess until the members can regain control of their emotions. Stone-forsaken fools and dusters. I'm sorry. This is the Assembly of the Clans. Only Deshers and occasional guests of state are allowed in. Oh, Stone. You must be the Grey Warden. I completely forgot about the Gate Guard's message. Welcome to Orzammar, Warden. I hope you can forgive our unrest. The loss of our king has hit us hard. Respect for your role is great, but you won't receive a proper hearing until we have a king on the throne. I must admit, Warden, I am at a loss myself. It lies with Prince Balin or Lord Harrowmont, and they are slow to trust anyone in these uncertain times. I only wish there was more I could do for you.
Warden, welcome. It is always a blessing for Orzammar to host your order. I am Vartag Gavorn, top advisor to our good Prince Balin. What news do you bring? Ah, ancient documents indeed. These were signed in the reign of Eithnar Bimo, Paragon and King. That was 16 generations ago. Now the difficulty is that the treaty only compels our king, and we are sadly lacking one of those right now. You must understand, Harrowmont hides behind his good reputation while sending spies and assassins. Balin can't know who to trust. It's been like a knife in the heart for Balin to see so many of his father's men stand with the usurper. That hurts worst of all. That Harrowmont would take advantage of the dying king's delirium to plant such poisonous suspicions against his own son. After that, you understand why Balin cannot trust the word of a stranger, however reputable that stranger might be. Wait, we must be cautious about whom to trust, but perhaps we could find a way. Harrowmont has engaged in a campaign of bribery and coercion to ensure that every house serves him. But if a neutral party, a stranger, were to approach certain key members, perhaps with irrefutable evidence of Harrowmont's deception, I'm certain my Lord Prince would show his gratitude. Harrowmont promised the same portion of his estate to two different Deshers, Lady Dace and Lord Helmy. Harrowmont can't possibly grant it to both of them, but they won't find out until after the vote is cast. I have copies of the promissory notes Harrowmont gave each of them. Once they see those, they should both reconsider their votes. That's not important. If they ask, say you found them while searching the Shaper's libraries for your treaty. Normally, the Shapers would handle this sort of accusation. They are the scholars who manage our laws, histories, and genealogies. They are the final arbiters of all disputes in Orzammar. Unfortunately, the Shaper of Memories is the most important among them, and his grandfather was Lord Harrowmont's aunt's first cousin. Obviously, we cannot expect him to offer an unbiased opinion. I guess I can't expect you surfacers to understand the importance of family in Orzammar. The Shaper is biased, and if you want Prince Balin's help, you'll have to show where your loyalties lie. Will you do it? Lady Dace doesn't leave the quarter much, but Lord Helmy's adventurous, likes to spend his time at tapsters in the Commons. Remember, don't tell them you got these papers from me. You learned of them and drew your own conclusions.
And so...
When I last walked this hall, Endrin was king and Orzammar was at peace. The memories often speak of the swiftness with which change overtakes us. But it is different to see it firsthand. I apologize, Warden. I should not burden a stranger with such thoughts. I am Zebor, the Shaper of Memories. The Grey Warden's visit has been recorded in the memories, along with all who accompany you. These are Harrowmont lands promised here. But these are not the deals we approved at the Shaperate. Where did you get these? Had he scripted these counterfeits? This is a serious crime. I will have the Ministry of Lands begin an investigation into the Gavorns immediately. Not entirely. There were 2 promised deals, but their terms differed significantly from what is presented here. It appears the scripter altered the dates and locations of the agreements to make them identical. You are an outsider, Warden, but not outside the law. I hope you will not do anything to challenge the stability of Orzammar.
As you do.
Well, have you found Lady Dace and Lord Helmy? Forged? Well, naturally they're forged. There is no legal way for Harriman to sell the same land twice over, is there? I didn't ask you to find out the paper's history. What I recall asking was whether you would prove your loyalty to Balin. These forgeries reflect badly on Lord Harriman, so unless you care about his reputation, I can't say I see your concern. Now, where does your allegiance lie, Warden? If you cannot support my prince, do not expect him to serve you. If you change your mind, you know what you must do to earn his indulgence.
News of the hour! Lord Harriman insinuated...
Lord Balin suspected of personally defacing...
2 years tomorrow. By all the holy sodding ancestors, how can you people just ignore that?
Branka didn't go alone, Ogren. She took the whole house, everybody but you. So just get over to Tapster's and drown yourself already. You know as well as I do that's how this always ends.
You think I'm afraid of some cub warrior who's barely off the teat? Ha!
You lift a weapon or attack a single citizen in Orzammar, and you're stripped of your caste and exiled. Even you can't have forgotten that. Get out of here before I call a guardsman.
Of course.